The night she left for Las Vegas, she said she just needed space. No yelling, no goodbye to the kids, just a note on the kitchen counter and silence. 3 days later, the bank called, and in that moment, standing in his driveway in Phoenix with the desert sun already burning his skin at 9 in the morning, Mark realized something terrifying. She didn't just leave him, she left everything behind. The mortgage, the bills, the school pickups, the bedtime stories, the breakfasts, the scraped knees, the homework questions, and the worst part, she thought she'd gotten away with it. But here's what she didn't know. Every choice casts a shadow, and hers was about to grow darker than she ever imagined. This is that story.
Mark had been up since 5 that morning. Same as always. Union job sites didn't care about emotions. Concrete still had to be poured, steel still had to be lifted, foundations didn't build themselves, bills still came due, whether your life was falling apart or not. He'd been working construction for 15 years, long enough to know that the sun didn't forgive, the foreman didn't forget, and paycheck to paycheck wasn't a phase. It was a lifestyle. When he walked into the kitchen at 6:30, coffee mug in hand, steel-toed boots already laced, the house felt wrong. Not broken, not messy, just empty in a way he couldn't name. No coffee brewing, no lunch packed in the fridge, no rushed complaints about traffic or the never-ending to-do list, just 2 kids sitting quietly at the table, staring at their empty bowls. His daughter, Emma, was 9. His son, Tyler, was 12. And both of them looked at him with eyes that already knew something he was still catching up to. "Dad," Emma asked, her voice small and careful, "why didn't Mom make breakfast?" That's when he saw it, a folded piece of notebook paper sitting in the center of the counter where the coffee pot should have been. His name written on the outside in her handwriting. Neat, deliberate, final. He unfolded it slowly. "I can't do this anymore. I need a fresh start. I deserve more than just surviving. I love the kids, and I know you'll take care of them. Don't try to find me. I need to figure out who I am. No address, no phone number, no plan, no explanation for the kids, no timeline, no 'I'll call soon.' Just a suitcase-sized hole in his life, and 2 children staring at him, waiting for an answer he didn't have." He folded the paper slowly, like maybe if he did it carefully enough, the words would rearrange themselves into something that made sense. Like maybe if he moved slow enough, time would reverse, and this morning would start over. It didn't. "Dad?" Tyler's voice cracked. "Where's Mom?" Mark looked at his son. 12 years old, old enough to understand, too young to process it. She needed some time away," Mark said quietly. "But you 2 didn't do anything wrong, you hear me? This isn't about you." Emma's lip trembled. "Is she coming back?" And Mark, standing there in his work boots with a note in his hand and a job site waiting 20 minutes away, realized he didn't know how to answer that. So he did what fathers do when the truth is too heavy. He lied. "Yes, sweetheart. She'll be back." Before we go on, I need to ask you something. Comment below. Is there ever a reason to leave your kids behind to find yourself? I want to know where you stand. No judgment. Just honest answers. And if this story already has you thinking, hit that like button. It helps more people see it. Now, let's continue. Mark learned quickly that heartbreak doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives in questions. Questions from small voices at bedtime. Questions that sliced deeper than any argument ever could. Is Mom mad at us? Did we do something wrong? Is she coming home tomorrow? Why didn't she say goodbye? Can we call her? Does she still love us? Every question was a knife he couldn't pull out, because the truth was, he didn't know the answers either. He told them what parents always tell their kids when the truth is too heavy to carry.
She just needs time. She's figuring some things out. It's not about you. It's about her. But time didn't cook dinner. Time didn't help with math homework. Time didn't pay the mortgage or explain why their mother chose a city of strangers over the people who needed her most. Within a week, the notices started arriving. Late payment warnings from the water company, final notice from the electric bill, a certified letter from the bank. He opened them one by one, sitting at the kitchen table after the kids went to bed, the blue glow of his phone the only light in the room. And then came the envelope that felt heavier than all the rest. 60 days to respond. Mark sat in his truck after work that day, engine off, hands gripping the steering wheel, staring at the house he'd built with overtime hours and missed birthdays. The house where his kids took their first steps, where they celebrated birthdays and lost teeth and learned to ride bikes in the driveway. The house that was about to be taken away. He didn't cry. He couldn't afford to.
Exhaustion, grinding, desperation masked as determination. Mark took every shift he could get. Double shifts, weekend calls, emergency jobs in the middle of the night. The kind of work that paid cash and didn't ask questions. He became a ghost in his own life. Gone before the kids woke up, home after they went to bed, existing in the margins of fatherhood, trying to save a house while losing time with the people inside it. At night, when exhaustion should have pulled him under, he sat at the kitchen table doing math that never worked out. Mortgage, $1,800. Utilities, $320. Groceries, $400. Car payment, $290. Insurance, $180. School fees, $95. No matter how many ways he arranged the numbers, they never added up to survival. And then he saw her posts. It started with a single notification. A mutual friend had tagged her in a photo. Las Vegas. Bright lights against a desert sky. Hotel balconies overlooking the strip. Champagne glasses catching golden hour sunlight. Her smile was wide. Her dress was new. Her eyes sparkled like she'd never known stress a day in her life. The caption read, "Finally putting myself first. New city, new energy, new me." Mark stared at his phone screen in the dark. While he was choosing between groceries and gas, she was choosing bottle service. While he was explaining to his daughter why they couldn't afford the school field trip, she was posting photos from rooftop pools. While he was lying awake calculating how many paychecks stood between them and homelessness, she was living like none of this ever existed. The comments poured in. "You look so happy. You deserve this. Finally living your best life. Proud of you for choosing you." Not one person asked about the kids. And that's when something inside him cracked. Not with anger, but with clarity. She hadn't escaped pressure. She'd handed it all to him.
Over the following weeks, the photos kept coming. Private dinners at restaurants Mark couldn't pronounce. VIP sections at clubs he'd never heard of. Shopping bags from stores that didn't list prices. And always, just barely visible in the frame, a man. Expensive watch, tailored suits, the kind of confident posture that came from never worrying about money. Mark didn't know his name, didn't need to. What he did know was this: the life she was living cost more than he made in 6 months. Which meant one of two things. Either she'd been hiding money from him for years, or this man had no idea she had kids. Back in Phoenix, Mark's life had become a tightrope. The kids eating cereal for dinner 3 nights a week. The electricity bill paid late to keep the water on. The school notes sent home asking why Tyler's field trip permission slip came back blank. "We can't afford it right now, bud."
Mark said quietly one evening. Tyler nodded, didn't complain, just went to his room. And Mark sat alone in the kitchen, phone in hand, scrolling through photos of his wife laughing in a city that never slept, while his kids went to bed hungry. The worst part? She looked happy. Genuinely, truly happy. Like leaving had been the right choice all along. It didn't happen dramatically. No yelling, no confrontation, no explosive fight in a crowded restaurant. Just a question. They were sitting on the balcony of his penthouse suite, the strip glowing beneath them like a river of neon. She'd been there for 3 weeks, long enough to feel permanent, long enough to let her guard down. He'd been generous, patient, interested in her stories about starting over. But he was also observant. He noticed the way she changed the subject when he asked about her past, the way she kept her phone face down, the way she flinched when kids ran past them at the hotel pool. So that night, under a sky that glowed orange from the city lights, he asked, "How old are your kids?" Silence. Not the comfortable kind. The kind that stretched and twisted until it became unbearable. She opened her mouth, closed it, looked away. I don't... You don't have to lie, he said gently. I saw the photo on your lock screen before you changed it. The little girl, she has your eyes. And in that moment, everything collapsed. The truth spilled out in fragments. A husband, 2 kids, a house on the edge of foreclosure, a life that felt like drowning. She cried, she explained, she justified. He listened quietly, hands folded, expression unreadable. When she finished, he stood up slowly, walked to the edge of the balcony, and stared out at the city. Then he turned back to her and said something she never expected to hear. If you can leave your children behind, I can never trust you. He didn't raise his voice, didn't argue, didn't insult her. He just walked inside, called the front desk, and arranged for her to be moved to a different room. And just like that, Vegas was over. The fall. Quiet, cold reality. The posts stopped. The champagne glasses disappeared. The rooftop photos vanished. The comments praising her bravery went silent. Within 2 days, she was on a bus back to Phoenix with a suitcase and a maxed-out credit card. No penthouse, no boyfriend, no fresh start. Just the same pressure she'd run from. Now, doubled. Back in Phoenix, Mark never celebrated her downfall. He was too busy being a father. But then, one afternoon, something unexpected happened. A black SUV pulled into his driveway. A man stepped out, well-dressed, calm, familiar. Mark recognized him immediately from the photos. He opened the door cautiously. "Can I help you?" The man extended his hand. "My name's David. I think we need to talk." They sat on the porch, 2 men who'd never met but shared the same story. Didn't come to gloat. He came to apologize. "Didn't know," he said quietly. "About the kids, about you, about any of it." Mark nodded. "I figured. When she told me the truth, I looked you up," David continued, "to understand who you were, what kind of man stays when everyone else runs." Paused. "I own a commercial development company. We build mixed-use properties across the Southwest. I need site managers I can trust, people who show up, people who don't quit when things get hard." He handed Mark a business card. "The job pays enough to save your house, benefits, stable hours. You'd still work hard, but you'd be home for your kids." Mark stared at the card, then at David. "Why would you do this?" David smiled sadly. "Because I respect what you did, and because the people who stay deserve more than the people who leave." The first time since she left, Mark felt something unfamiliar. Hope. Mark never begged her to come back. Choices don't deserve a second chance. She called eventually, asked to see the kids. He agreed, but on his terms. Supervised visits, slowly rebuilt trust. She moved into a small apartment across town, got a job, started therapy. Kids were cautious, hurt, confused. Mark taught them something important. You can forgive someone and still protect yourself. You can love someone and still set boundaries. The kids grew stronger. The house stayed standing. The pressure didn't disappear, but it was shared.
Mark worked for David's company, built a career, found stability. And every night, he came home to his kids. Because that's what family does. They stay. The pressure of life doesn't destroy families. Walking away does. When families endure hardship together, they grow stronger. Roots deepen, bonds solidify, character forms. A better life built on abandonment never lasts. But a life built on commitment, on showing up, on staying when it's hard, that's the kind of life that stands. Let me ask you this. Who was right in this story? The woman who chose herself, or the father who stayed? Comment your answer below. I want to see where you stand. And tell me, what city are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments. If you want more real stories like this, stories about choices, consequences, and what happens when people choose themselves over the people who need them, subscribe. New ones every week. Thanks for watching, and remember, the people who stay are the ones who matter most.